my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, your Friday morning right here on SABC3. Now, we're talking all about diabetes today, and Woolworths has launched a healthy living hub online where you'll find recipes, meal plans, and expert tips and advice. Now, we're inspiring you to improve a healthier lifestyle and to live a healthier lifestyle and improve your overall well-being. We've got dietitian with us here, one of the experts who's here to help us gain an understanding of diabetes, because today is World Diabetes Day. That's why we're wearing our blue circles, and it is a very serious issue. I mean, we're focusing on it. The statistics are shocking.
Yeah, the International Diabetes Federation actually estimates that there are currently over 360 million people living with diabetes, and by 2030 this will increase to just under 500 million. So, or just actually more than just over 500 million people.
Yeah.
In South Africa, the stats are no much better. 10% of South Africans currently are officially diagnosed with diabetes, but I think in rural populations where people haven't been diagnosed, it's a gross underestimate. And 1 in 5 people actually have pre-diabetes, so the condition prior to actually getting full-blown diabetes.
And the thing is, I think not only is it a serious issue because it's costing the government money, but it influences the quality of life that you live, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the myths. I remember as a child, my grandmother always saying to me, don't eat too many sweets, you'll get diabetes from eating too much sugar. Is that, what is that, really?
It's a common myth that eating sugar causes diabetes, but it's a more complex disease than that, and there's so many different factors that can influence it.
Yes.
So for instance, in type 1 diabetes, we know that genetics are part of the cause, but there are also unknown factors that might trigger the onset of the disease. And then in type 2 diabetes, we know a bit more in that there's partly genetics, but a large portion of that is controlled by lifestyle and behavioral factors. So quality of diet and high sugar intake could form part of that, can contribute to onset of diabetes, but also sedentary behavior, lack of physical activity, those sort of, the issues that we're facing now as a developing society and with increased urbanization, all those factors can influence the onset of type 2 diabetes.
I'm glad you mentioned diet, because whenever I go back home, I always try and treat my grandmother by bringing her something special, but because she's diabetic, I always have to be kind of thinking twice about it. So is it true that people that suffer from diabetes should only stick to specialized diabetic products and not eat certain fruits?
It's a good question, because often these so-called diabetes products can tend to be high in saturated fat, high in energy as well. So actually for someone who's diabetic, who actually should be controlling their total energy intake and possibly losing weight to assist with their blood sugar control, especially labeled diabetes foods are not always the best for them. And it can actually influence blood sugar control as well. So the key is a variety of whole grain, minimally processed foods would probably be the way to go. And eating a wide variety of that. And remember, it's portion control as well, and we discussed that in a previous segment, just how important that is, because the amount of carbohydrate that you eat influences your blood sugar response. So choose unrefined sources of carbs and keep your portions controlled. So if you want to include some fruit, even if it is your grapes or bananas, the ones that are seen to be overly sugary, those can still be suitable, because if you control the amount that you eat at one sitting, you're going to have better blood sugar control.
And so what is Woolies doing to support those that are affected by diabetes?
So we're already, as you mentioned, we have our health hub, which has lots of tips and recipes and meal plans that people with diabetes can actually use. But every year, in support of World Diabetes Day, we actually conduct nationwide dietitian-led store tours. So customers can actually sign up at a store and actually be taken around a store with a dietitian and ask all those burning questions about diabetes that they've always wanted to ask a dietitian but never had the opportunity to do. And then we'll go through things like food labeling and how to read a food label, how to make a better choice. Because there's a wide variety, and it can be quite confusing to someone who's trying to eat better and might not have the tools.
So, I mean, looking at the spread that you've brought along with you, I'm always getting the sense that the more natural, the better.
Yeah, so as I said, minimally processed, lots of leafy greens, controlled portions of your fruits as well. And we often forget to talk about it, but oily fish, because it contains your omega-3 fats, very good for the heart. With diabetes, you have an increased risk for heart disease. So so that's a factor we often forget about. So when you go visit Granny, don't just take her something that doesn't have sugar in, but also something that actually helps her heart. So almonds, maybe dark chocolate-coated almonds in small quantities is actually a
There we
good
go.
idea.
There we go. Go,
So
I'm bringing them.
the monounsaturated fats are great. So
Yes.
more Mediterranean-style diet. Olive oil, avocado oil, lots of nuts, seeds, and oily fish would be the way to go.
Yeah, and of course, I think very important, you know, remain active.
Yes.
Exercise,
Right.
keep your body in shape. Thank you very much, Cindy. We do appreciate it. In fact, if you want to find out more and know how to make better food choices, you can go to www.woolworths.co.za/healthy living. And that's how we are helping to create awareness on this World Diabetes Day. Ilana, over to you.